So I have a little bigger repair here, big enough to get your fingers in. And this, to me, is normal for a repair. It's on a seat cover that is not all dried out. It has some good flexibility left to it, and I'm confident that I can do a repair that would last literally years. However, in order for it to come out right and hold up, you've got to put some good support underneath. I start with just some soft, flexible cardboard and roll it over my fingers. And I'm just going to leave that in there so that that whole area is nice and firm when I heat it. And I have several colors of patching vinyl that can be used either underneath for support or actually melted over a repair, literally as an iron-on patch. But the whole key here is doing it in such a fashion that there's no edge that can be picked at, so this repair will not come apart. I've already cleaned the seat cover with a detergent alcohol blend, and now I'm ready to use my welding compound. This liquid vinyl clear heat cure. We call it a base compound, and all I'm going to do is wet the edges of the cut, fill in any gaps. I'm not trying to get it underneath. I'm just trying to melt this cut back together as quickly, efficiently, and permanently as possible. For this, I'm going to use a heat iron, which I recommend anytime you've got a repair big enough to get that many fingers in. I have fixed repairs that size with a heat gun successfully. It does take longer. And if you happen to be working in a cold draft, that's going to totally compromise your hot air. So there's my mesh. I cut in strips over the cut. And I'm going to heat through a Teflon coated sheet here so that I'll heat through it and nothing sticks to this Teflon. It's literally a heat shield, if you will. So I focus my heat right over the cut, cool it, and for this little segment here, I'm just going to use the smaller part of my iron. So I'm only trying to heat where the cut is. So the mesh has been melted in, and I'm going to check it with my fingernail and make sure there's no weak spots. Okay. Then I come back with another layer of the vinyl weld compound. Just a thin coat to seal over that. Again, lay your Teflon mat down and use the shape of the iron that best suits the size of the cut. What I'm looking for here is to heat this to the point where it smokes slightly. Again, what that means is that the vinyl is fusing, it's welding, it's not burning. There is far more of a concern to underheat and not have a strong repair. If you overheat and burn it, you're going to know it. And there's ways to deal with that. So my compound went from white to clear, and any little low spots or divots, I can come back and add one more coat to get it nice and smooth. Now at this point, I've heated the seat like 3 times. This seat is nice and hot, which means anything I do is going to fuse better. If you start out working on a cold seat, it's like your first heating is thawing out the seat. And that's all very relevant to a permanent repair. Now this is welded smooth. Everything else I do from this point is cosmetic. So I have a liquid vinyl that I use for the last layer. We call it top coat. And I'm trying to keep this small. Again, I like to spread in rather than out. The patterns that we made earlier, I made a bluebird grain pattern for this seat. And I made it a little on the small side, but it'll work. So I'm going to put the grain in with the color to make a repair that's as invisible as possible, as unnoticeable as I can make it. I'm only doing this because I just made this mold. I'm hardening up the cure just a little bit. Okay. So you lay that grain pattern down. Lay your Teflon heat shield down. Now I'm going to iron through that rubber pattern to melt the grain in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10. Okay. So I need a little bit more right on that side. Don't need to heat as big of an area, so I'm going to use a smaller shape of my iron there. A good rule of thumb here is whatever shape of the iron I'm working with, I can heat an area about twice as big and keep it hot. And I'm looking for that smoke. There we go, a little bit of smoke. Doesn't mean you stop, it means you heat a little longer to guarantee a repair that's going to hold. So again, I'm going to check the edges of this with my fingernail and make sure that there's nothing that can be picked open. And if I have any doubt at all, just heat it a little more. When your repair is complete, when you've used the colored heat compound, it will have the same general gloss or sheen as the rest of the seat cover. If it's really flat and chalky looking, it's not heated enough and the color could be scraped off. When in doubt, heat more. And at this point, you have the option of leaving that as is or doing a light shot of spray paint, which is a good graffiti cover-up paint, matched to school bus interior colors and the modern colors of gray, the browns, the navy blue, maroon. These are on hand just to cosmetically blend the repair to not invite more damage. Out of sight, out of mind.